The system is gasping for air, but the charts are lying to your face. A few hours ago, legendary economist Patrick Boyle released a report that should have stopped every heart in America. He revealed that U.S. consumer sentiment has officially fallen to a 7-4-year low. To put that in perspective, we are more miserable today than during the 1973 oil embargo, the global financial crisis, and even a global pandemic. Welcome back to Broken Economy. I am Ren. I am driving through the rain-slicked corridors of San Diego today. Look out this windshield. From the outside, the palm trees and the high-rises look like a bull market, but the data from the pavement tells a different story. Patrick Boyle explained the macro collapse of the Phillips Curve and the Baumol Cost Disease from his desk. Today, I am giving you the micro-reality. We are going to connect the dots between the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, the death of cheap Chinese labor, and why your $100,000 salary in 2026 is officially being liquidated by a system that has run out of road. This isn't a 5-minute clip. This is a 20-minute deep dive investigation into the great disconnection. If you want to understand why your retirement is being used to fund a government deficit that is now 7% of GDP, stay with me. Let us talk about the 30-year lie. For 3 decades, central bankers took credit for low inflation. They thought they were geniuses. But as Boyle pointed out, they just had the wind at their backs. They were outsourcing our inflation to Chinese factories and Eastern European labor. We enjoyed cheap televisions and cheap clothing, while the domestic service sector, your plumber, your dentist, your lawyer kept getting more expensive in the background. But that era is over. The demographics have reversed. The world's labor force is shrinking, and the trade barriers are going up. The structural tailwind that made central banking look easy has turned into a Category 5 hurricane, blowing directly into our faces. In San Diego, we feel this shift every time we pay for a service. Have you noticed the price of a simple car repair or a doctor's visit lately? That is the Baumol Cost Disease in action. You can automate a factory, but you cannot automate a nurse or a teacher. As our population ages, the demand for these labor-intensive services is exploding. Governments are staring down the barrel of massive structural deficits that have nothing to do with who is in power. They are paying more and more for the same level of care, while the productive capacity of the economy is being siphoned away to manage the debt. Boyle mentioned the selective inattention of the public. When inflation is 2%, nobody cares about the Federal Reserve. But when the water starts pouring through the ceiling, when eggs and gasoline become luxury items, people suddenly start paying attention. But here is the danger. They are learning about monetary policy at the exact moment the system is failing. Inflation expectations are drifting. People are starting to expect higher prices, so they demand higher wages, and the spiral becomes self-reinforcing. This is the 1970s, all over again, but this time we have $40 trillion in debt. Look at the gas stations I am passing right now. Brent crude is over $125 a barrel. The Strait of Hormuz is a vital artery, and it has been severed. Politicians want to blame geopolitical bad luck, but the ingredients for this explosion were in the pipeline for years. The war merely exposed the rot. We are entering the age of the unanchored central banker. They can no longer pursue stable prices because they are being forced to monetize the government's debt. If they don't, the entire system defaults. If they do, your currency goes to zero. If you make $100,000 today in Southern California, you are essentially the working poor. The silent harvest is happening in your utility bills and your grocery receipts. The algorithm has decided that the interest on the national debt is more important than your ability to own a home. We are moving into a system where your quality of life is being liquidated to protect the bathtub of the global elite. They tell you to buy the dip, but the dip is a trap. The S&P 500 is propped up by the passive money machine, while the physical world you actually inhabit is falling apart. Boyle highlighted that housing is almost entirely absent from the analysis of those predicting a return to low inflation. That is a massive omission. Shelter costs make up more than a third of the CPI. In San Diego, the lock-in effect has destroyed the housing supply. Homeowners won't sell because they can't afford the new 6% mortgage rates. We have a market with no supply, rising construction costs, and a generation of young people who are being locked out of ownership forever. Housing inflation is structural, and it is not going away. Think about the irony of our current leadership. They are gaming the maturity of our debt for short-term political convenience. They are issuing short-term bills to save money today while ignoring the fact that they have to roll that debt over at whatever the market charges tomorrow. It is a desperate gamble. They are betting that rates will fall. But as we've seen, there is no macroeconomic reason to expect a decline. We are refinancing our civilization at the worst possible time. I'm going to keep driving these streets. I'm going to keep showing you the for sale signs and the empty storefronts that prove the 7-4-year low in sentiment is justified. Because if we do not document the truth, the algorithms will rewrite the history of our liquidation. They want you distracted by the evening news. They want you arguing about politics so you don't notice that your labor is being harvested to fund a bankrupt system. Go to the comments right now. Tell me if your sentiment is also at a 7-4-year low. Tell me what you are seeing in your city that proves the everything is fine narrative is a lie. Are you seeing the restaurants empty out? Are you seeing your utility bills triple? We are building a map of the real economy here at Broken Economy. We are the 404 resistance. We see the gears, we know the harvest is here. Subscribe to stay awake. I'm Ren. I will see you on the next street.